Well. College football week double ones. Week number 11. It's got some high profile games. The late night games include my Schooner Sooners trying to get to back Big 12 championships. They'll have to qualify for the championship game, and they can easily do that against TCU. Try to do that at least against TCU Saturday. The other primetime game at another helmet team, Miami, and an extra one just to hold on to it, Notre Dame, the independent. Who wins those games plus all the other high-profile games? Find out next. It's week 11 of college football picks. Boomer Sooner 1982. Don't go away! Welcome back to Week 11's edition, I believe, of the College Football Pick'em Contest. My name's Harry James, and you're watching Boomer Sooner 1982. These are my picks in college football. We'll start in, I guess now looks like one of the premier leagues in the Big 12 Conference, as we always do, as a couple of teams try to bounce back after tough losses. In Ames, Okie State is at Iowa State on ESPN2 or ABC at 11 a.m. That one will be, I think Iowa State's going to win that matchup. The Fox game is Texas Tech and Baylor from AT&T Cowboy Stadium, where the championship game will be. These two teams look to not be in that ball game, but hey, they're in the stadium. Congratulations to them on that. And in that version of the AT&T, that game of the AT&T Cowboys Stadium game, Texas Tech's gonna walk out the winner. The mid-afternoon tips. There's two mid-afternoon tips actually. Actually, only one mid-afternoon tip. That's West Virginia and Kansas State on ESPN2. I'm going to go with the Mountain Men of West Virginia. 2 night games, all at 5 o'clock on the Texas Longhorn Network. Kansas and Texas, we all remember who won this game last year. I think Texas is going to come back and get them this year. And the prime time game on Fox this week. My Sooners will host TCU. Of course, I don't pick the OU game because I don't want to sound like a homer always picking Oklahoma when I don't know everything about the opponents. So that's that. Tuesday is when everything else gets kicked off for normal college football. Includes 2 games, both of them at 6:30. ESPN2 will have Akron at Miami of Ohio. I'm going to go with Akron. And Bowling Green will be at Buffalo on ESPNU. I'm going to go with Buffalo. The Wednesday night games while you're at church, you can keep an eye out on these games. All at 6:30, I believe. Kent State at Michigan State, or Western Michigan, on CBS. I'm going to go with Western Michigan. Toledo will be at the University of Ohio on ESPN2. I'm going to go with Ohio. And Western Michigan will be at Central Michigan, ESPNU. I'm going to go with Central Michigan. After that, you got Thursday. 3 kicks here too. 6 p.m. You can watch Ball State at Northern Illinois on CBS Sports. I'm going to go with Northern Illinois. 6:30, ESPNU and ESPN both have games. The ESPNU game, Georgia Southern at Appalachian State. I'm going to go with App State. And from the major colleges, it's the ACC tonight on Thursday night with North Carolina at Pittsburgh on ESPN. I'm going to go with Pitt. Friday games, the ESPN2 at 6 o'clock. You can watch Temple at Cincinnati, that is. I'm going to go with Cincinnati. The 9:30 game for major college football is right here. The major college football game on Friday night. Washington is at Stanford on FS1. I'm going to go with Washington. And finally, BYU at UNLV on ESPN The Deuce. I'm going to go with UNLV. Saturday at 11 a.m. is the next kickoffs. Speaking of bouncing back, what about Ohio State trying to bounce back? Michigan State at the Ohio State University on Fox. I'm going to go with Ohio State University. Also bouncing back, Penn State trying to bounce back after they lost to Michigan State as they host Rutgers. Rutgers at Penn State on Big Ten Network. I'm going to go with Penn State. ESPNU will have the University of Connecticut at Central Florida on ESPNU. I'm going to go with Central Florida. ESPN at 11. Theirs is Arkansas at LSU. I'm going to go with LSU. NC State at Boston College is on ABC or ESPN2. That one's the opposite of Oklahoma, Iowa State. I'm going to go with Boston College in that matchup. Big Ten games on the Big Ten Network. 2 more games on the Big Ten Network. Indiana at Illinois. I'm going to go with Indiana. Also Big Ten Network. Nebraska at Minnesota. I'm going to go with the Gophers. The SEC Network game is Louisiana Lafayette at Ole Miss. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. And the SEC game that day, Florida at South Carolina on CBS. I'm going to go with South Carolina. And CBS Sports will have the Dukies facing an opponent for Oklahoma for next year, an Army. At West Point, I'm going to go with Army. 11:20, Virginia Tech at Georgia Tech on the ACC Network. I'm going to go with the Hokies of Virginia Tech. 1 o'clock, Middle Tennessee will be at Charlotte on ESPN3. I'm going to go with Charlotte. 2 o'clock, Wake Forest at Syracuse on the ACC Network. I'm going to go with Syracuse. The Middle SEC game on CBS is Georgia and Auburn. I'm going to go with, and they will be at Auburn. I'm going to go with Auburn. Florida State at Clemson on ESPN. Florida State's been struggling, so you got to stick with Clemson. Iowa at Wisconsin. The Badgers on ABC. I'm going to go with Wisconsin. Virginia and Louisville. On ESPNU. I'm going to go with Louisville. The Stadium Network. You can find that one on Facebook, I do believe. That one will be Florida Atlantic at Louisiana Tech. I'm going to go with La Tech. Big Ten Network will have Michigan at Maryland on the Big Ten Network. I'm going to go with Michigan. CBS Sports Network version is Southern Methodist at Navy. I'm going to go with Navy. And finally, also on Facebook or on that Stadium Network, Southern Mississippi is at Rice. I'm going to go with Southern Miss. 3 o'clock, USC at Colorado on Fox National. I'm going to go with USC. ESPN3 will have Georgia State at Texas State. I'm going to go with Georgia State. Maine at UMass on the new 11 network. I'm going to go with UMass. San Jose State at Nevada on ESPN3. I'm going to go with Nevada. And finally, our old buddy, Mark Stoops, Bob and Mike's brother. He's at Kentucky, and they are hosted by Vanderbilt at Kentucky on the SEC Network. I'm going to go with Kentucky. 3:30 on ESPN3, you can see Troy at Coastal Carolina. I'm sticking with Troy. 4 o'clock, 2 of them. Arkansas State at South Alabama on ESPN3. I'm going to go with Arkansas State. And also at 4 o'clock, UTEP will be at North Texas on ESPN3. I'm going to go with UNT. Speaking of UNT, congratulations to our buddy and former Sooner Seth Luttrell. Back-to-back bowl games for North Texas, as he leads them to back-to-back bowl games. Back to the picks show part of it. 4:30 p.m. Washington State at Utah on the Pac-12 Network. I'm going to go with Washington State. 5:30 p.m. in the BN Sports Network. You can watch Western Kentucky at Marshall. I'm going to go with Marshall. Back to the original channel lineups on ESPN. On ESPN, regular, Alabama at Mississippi State. I'm going to go with Alabama. Also, Purdue at Northwestern on ESPN2. I'm going to go with Northwestern. ESPN3.com will have ODU at Florida International. I'm going to go with Florida International. ESPNU will have New Mexico at Texas A&M. I'm going to go with the Aggies. That new Stadium Network, they're going to have Birmingham, Alabama at Texas San Antonio on the Stadium Network and on Facebook. I'm going to go with UTSA. Finally, CBS Sports Network will have Tulane at East Carolina. I'm going to go with East Carolina. 6:30 p.m. Tennessee will be at Missouri on the SEC Network. I'm going to go with the Tigers of Mizzou. The other primetime game, besides Oklahoma and TCU this weekend, of course, we've already talked about it. Notre Dame at Miami on ABC. I'm going to go with the Hurricanes of Miami. 8:30 p.m. Another contest that Oklahoma will be playing in the near future next season. UCLA will host Arizona State on the Pac-12 network. I'm going to go with UCLA. 9:15. Speaking of Pac-12 play, you'll see Oregon State at Arizona on ESPN2. I'm going to stick with Arizona. Wyoming at Air Force will be ESPNU's game. I'm going to stick with Air Force. 9:30. Boise State at Colorado State on CBS Sports Network. I'm sticking with Boise State. And finally at 10:59 p.m., Fresno State will be at Hawaii on the Spectrum Pay-Per-View Network. I'm going to go with Fresno State. All right, guys, don't take any of these picks to Vegas. But you know what? If you do want to take these picks to Vegas, I, Harry James Taylor, will be willing to take some of that money that you win. Just kidding. But no, seriously, my name's Harry James. You can find these on my Facebook account, Harry James Taylor, or on my Twitter, at HypeManHarry. You can also find them on the YouTube at BoomerSooner1982. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and good luck to your team, and enjoy this week 11 of college football. I'm out of here.